do it like this tonight. I don't know why. I better go do one better. All right. We might be good now. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully good. Trying to heat up my hands. We need hot hands tonight, right? We do have a semi-damaged box in the back. We're going to do it last, because, you know, I love a good damaged box. It's just dented on the top. I'm sure everything inside is fine, but love a good dented box. I'll tell you what, I'm about wore out today. So to preface this, I'll tell you guys, today was really warm here. Like we had probably 84, 85, and legit sun today. So it felt like a summer day, which was great. Love it. But, you know, when you spend a lot of the day out in the sun, it tends to wear you out. So I was outside quite a bit, mowed grass at my mom's house, and took a walk to get my son from school today, walked to school, and then my neighbor next to us, her husband passed away. I can't remember if her husband passed away right after my dad or right before my dad. But her husband passed away similar time frame of when my dad passed away. And we're pretty close with her. And she messaged me while I was mowing at my mom's, or right before I got to my mom's, I think. Anyway, she messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm having trouble with my push mower. Would you mind mowing my grass today?" And I've always told her, if you ever need help mowing, you know, just ask. I love mowing grass. I'm happy to do it. And so, you know, it's taken her this long to finally ask for help. And so anyway, so then I mowed her yard. And, whew. This fluffy fella spent too much time in the sun and too much time working, doing manual labor today. I'm not used to having to do physical work for a living, which is good for you. Don't get me wrong, it's good. I need the exercise. But all right, let's get into it. Here is our list for tonight. I just started seeing all the comments coming in. Half price for dented box. May have posted will you do a race win card for this week? All-Star race. Yeah, I will, Corey. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do a race winner for the All-Star race. So here's our owner list. The only person I'm missing is JJ for the Sheldon Creed spot. And I got plenty of JJ's cards here, so I'm not even sweating that. Nor what I to begin with. And then when you look at this list, I drew the line down the middle just to signify for the duck race. I made two groups. Essentially, it's left and right. So for the duck race, first place gets the drivers on the left. Second place gets the drivers on the right. Pretty simple. So you didn't say there'd be a damaged box. And then here's our duck race lineup. John Boyles, and I see John just said he just sent, so we should be all square then on that as well. So thank you, John, and good luck to everybody in that. And let's do this thing. Let me point you guys down just a touch. We need 25 tonight. We'll shuffle it one time. And good luck, everybody. If you guys get a chance to check out my Instagram story, I shared a quick victory lane celebration from Tim McCready. I'm telling you, Tim McCready always does victory lane right. And you can just see the pure joy in his face every time he wins a race. And he's won a lot, don't get me wrong. He's won a lot. 22 gets the win, and I think the Dino Duck, 10 was second. So 22 is first place. That is Zach Brenner. And then 10 is second place. And that is going to be Tim Mays. So those are going to be our duck race winners. 22 is Zach Brenner, first place. And 10 is Tim Mays, second place. So Zach Brenner gets the drivers on the left side of the list. Austin Dillon down to Jeffrey Earnhardt. And then Tim Mays gets the drivers on the right side of the list. Justin Haley down to the Ankrum and Ty Dillon pair. So that should be all we need for that. And let's get into it. Good luck, everybody. 2024 Select tonight. I know it's a bit of a bummer with Donruss being delayed. And that's why I kind of tried to go a little bit heavier this weekend with stuff. Because I felt like everybody was sort of excited and anxious to do breaks, and so I, just trying to fill the void basically. So even though it's not necessarily 2025 Donruss, tomorrow we will do a 2024 Donruss break. We got Ross, Darrell Waltrip, white Ryan Truex. Love the whites. Ryan Truex goes to Tim Mays on the right side of the filler. Truex was 33/99. American Pride, Austin Dillon. And SVG. Sammy Smith. Parker Retzlaff. Purple Austin Hill. Belongs to Tony Jordan. Need a recount. 43/75. I'm going to have to ask. So, literally right before I went live, I saw a girl that is a couple years younger than me, but went to the same school, and we know each other. Her son did a drawing for his art class of Dale Sr. And so I need to ask her. I'm going to ask her if I can have permission to share that with the group, because it's really, really good. I mean, he's very talented. Silver Ryan Preece. So as long as she says yes, which I'm sure she will, I'll share that with everybody at some point. John Hunter, Tony Stewart. We got Daniel Suarez with the blue. Try not to give away what's behind Daniel too much. I'm sure everybody's sneaking a peek. Suarez goes to Brian D. 45/175. And super nice. 14/25. Tie-dye Denny Hamlin autograph. That doesn't suck. That's nice. Denny's going to go to James Ward. Nice hit, James. Congrats with that one. Love the tie-dyes. That's sharp. If you didn't get a chance to see or haven't watched yet, the Actions Detrimental podcast that Denny does, Silver Chase Briscoe, he had Kyle Busch on, and it was a really good show, in my opinion. It's very interesting to see those two interact, and they even referenced the fact that at one time they didn't always get along real well. So, red Parker Retzlaff, going to Steve Teskey, 24/149. But anyway, that's a good episode if you like podcast stuff. Sensations, Todd Gilliland, Harrison Burton. I think so, James. Sorry, I just saw your question about grading. I think so. If it was me, I wouldn't have a problem grading it. I mean, obviously I can't guarantee anything, but if I owned it, I would have no second thoughts about sending it. So I guess that's the best I can say. Blue Christian Eckes, but I didn't see anything that stood out to me as a problem with it. You know what I mean? Eckes going to J.R. Tipple, 56/175. Let's just take a quick look at it. We got time. Nobody's going to crucify us for taking a quick look. I don't see anything that stands out to me. Centering looks pretty strong on the front. Surface looks pretty strong. I don't see anything on the back that's a red flag to me either. So, I mean, like I said, I think we send it. That's what I would do. So, sounds like a plan. They change paint scheme every time. I didn't know that, Scott. See, look, I learned something new today. I did not know they did that. That's cool. Tricolor, Denny. Jimmy Johnson, Haley Deegan. Yeah. Well, if I... Scott, you raise a valid point. Scott says Mike knows full well we'll send stuff that are 6s. Red, Corey LaJoy. Now, my rule of thumb for everybody else, I know I'm, and Scott, you are, and there's a few people that just don't really care, or they want stuff slabbed for different reasons, and the grade's important, but not, critical. 140 or 149 on the Corey LaJoy. He goes through the filler to Zach Brenner. But anyways, my rule of thumb is if it, to me, looks like it's not going to grade at least an 8, then I speak up. If I think it's an 8 or better, then I say, hey, go for it, 3 of 49, blue, Casey Kane. Oh, heck, Scott. I'll send this filler card to PSA. So there's a really cool video. I'll tell you about something here in a second, Scott. Blue Casey Kane going to Dale. I cannot put the blue card on that stand, so we got to make a little switcheroo here. But anyway, Scott, speaking about PSA 1s, somebody on Instagram, last night I was on Instagram just flipping through reels, and I saw somebody that was at a card show, and they had several rookies like Mark McGuire, Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter. Is it 93 or 92 Derek Jeter tops, whichever one that is. But they had like 4 or 5 different baseball players that are really, really high profile. And they had their rookie cards in a complete set, PSA 1 through 10. And I thought, man, that took probably some real work to get that. Ooh, gold. Christian Eckes, gold. That's going to go to JR. We'll take that. 6 out of 10. Tony says he saw it too. It was really cool. Yeah, I mean, if you think about how difficult that would be to get a whole set in all the grades, I mean, my Lord. And getting a 1 or a 2 or a 3, anything 5 or below is, it's not going to be simple to do. Saw a guy that collects PSA 1 rookies. Interesting. Well, I've told you guys about the person that, I'm going to move Denny for Christian Eckes. I've told you guys about the person that I knew that was collecting, he was a big James Bond fan. And so he didn't care what the card was, what sport it was. It could be water polo, swimming, it didn't matter. If the serial number was 007, meaning 007, then he wanted it. 87 and 99 on the Enfuego Red. Bill Elliott goes to Brian Jacobs. But yeah, the 007 thing was really cool. I thought that was very different, very unique. And then I actually met a guy at a trade night. It's probably been a year and a half ago now, or longer. But the guy I met, he collects cards of any sport, doesn't matter what sport it is, and the card has to have a phone in it. He's into phones. And so like, a draft card for the NFL where maybe they're on their phone, or maybe a player in the football game on the sideline when they're on the phone there, or just you name it. If there's a phone in the picture, he wanted it. So some of that stuff's just really unique, you know. Carolina Blue DW going to Troy. $68/199 DW. It's funny you mentioned that, Scott, because I had a Brady rookie in that Team Up North uniform just a few days ago. Blue Daniel Hemrick, 9/35 with the fire suit. Through the filler to Zach Brenner. But yeah, I had a Brady rookie and traded it to Kurt. I knew Kurt because of his UM fandom would be, and there's a couple other UM fans that I know of in the group that Kurt was the first one I messaged, and he was not going to pass it up. So tricolor Ty Dillon, and I was thrilled to get that Brady. I was thrilled to get that Brady out of my house. So I took it in a trade at the last card show I did, and didn't really want to, but the guy that asked me to do the trade has been asking me to trade for different stuff, and I keep telling him no because I just don't really like what he's offering me, you know, and he's always wanting to trade for like really nice Bailey WWE cards, which, I mean, you guys know I like Bailey. So it's hard for me to want to like trade away something I like for something I don't like. But I've told him, I had told him no too many times, and I felt like it was time to say yes. And Brady rookie, regardless of how I feel, seemed like a smart trade. So Carolina Blue, Haley Deegan, going to CW. $44/199. And we got Sparks, Fire Suit, Chase Elliott, going to Paul. Why say no when it feels so good to say yes? Yeah, I would say the Brady deal, it's all kind of worked out in a wash for me. Like, I wouldn't say I've come out ahead in any of that trading that I've done that involved that card. But I did get the card to a permanent home, and I got a couple things that are a little bit easier for me to move, I feel like. So, Silver Haley. Like, one of the things Kurt traded me was a Cam Ward rookie auto. Obviously rookie auto because he's not even playing yet. But that was one of the cards I got in the trade, was a Cam Ward auto, which seems like a no-brainer, you know. Should be an easy sell at the card shows. So, Christian Rose, red. Going to Dave. No, nothing Larson so far. 86 of 149, unfortunately. Larson has been MIA tonight so far. Tony B. Yeah, exactly, Scott. It's not a super expensive card, the auto. And I've got 3 shows coming up in the next month and a half, so it should be an easy thing for me to sell or trade or something. Tricolor Zane Smith going to Matt Aland. Timmy Hill starting his 500th NASCAR sanctioned race this week. Wow, I had no idea that was the case. Tony B. That's crazy. And Jimmy will start his 700th Cup race at Charlotte. Also crazy. Although it seems like Jimmy would have started more races than that. How many races did he win? Like 70? Or am I too high on Jimmy? Anybody know a rough estimate off the top of their head how many wins Jimmy has? 37 of 199. Daniel Dye goes through the filler to Zach Brenner, the Carolina Blue. Legendary signatures, Jeff Burton. That's going to go to Corey King. J.R. Tipple says Jimmy's got 85. Wow. So he's won more than... Yeah, actually a little more than 10%. That's incredible. Yeah, and I was going to say, I think Gordon had a similar win rate. That's just unbelievable, man. Silver Raja. Well, yeah, who's counting? It doesn't matter. Red and Fuego, Martin Truex Jr. goes to Nate. 49 of 99. Yeah, I mean, what did Jimmy run? About 20 seasons, maybe? And won 7 championships? Chandler Smith, blue. Going to Johnny Hinton. $84 out of 175. Then we got J-Mac, Jamie McMurray, silver autograph. Going to Will Black. Yeah, when you win 5 in a row, it definitely helps. Absolutely. Dale Jarrett, tricolor. Going to Zach Brenner. Eckes. Carson Quapple. Tanner Gray, blue. Goes to Tim Mays. For 25% of his career, he didn't lose a yeah, that's wild. 25 of 175, Tanner Gray. I mean, I argue all the time that if Michael Jordan had played in the 94 and 95 seasons, the Bulls would have won 8 straight championships. And what Jimmy accomplished with his championships, certainly, comparable to what Michael Jordan and the Bulls were able to do. Nice red SVG Sensations going to Sarah. 57 of 99. Yeah. Good points. Good points for sure. Jake Garcia, white. It's going to go to Billy Joe. $29 of 99. Jimmy Hensley. I remember Jimmy Hensley. Gregson and Dale Jr. Ooh. No, wait, is that an orange? I think that's orange. Jeff Burton. Yeah, 27 of 49. I got excited. And then I was like, wait a second. That's just the wrong hint of a color. Jeff Burton, orange. Going to Corey King. Still nice, though. Norm Benning should have... Yeah, I think Norm Benning should have a card. So many other people have cards. And Norm Benning, especially back in when they were running the trucks at Eldora, man, he was very competitive there. I remember rooting for him. Tie-dye, Ryan Truex. Going through the filler. Nobody took it. To Tim Mays. Oh, that's cool, James. 18 of 25. With the tie-dye. Petty and Newman. All right, let me move some base cards out of the way real quick. There's our dented box for last. On the side of that Chevy truck several times. Oh, that's cool. Empty box. All right. White Daniel Dye. That goes through the filler to Zach Brenner. 16 out of 99. Ross, Kevin Harvick. Dylan. Purple Greg Biffle. Goes to Glenn. 45 of 75. Lane Riggs, DW. Rico has been on a tear. I saw where they were at Niagara Falls today, him and his girlfriend or wife and their crew and all that. They're racing up in Canada. Josh Williams. 132 of 199. Going to JR. Yeah, a couple nights ago he got into a lapped car, and then that kind of caused a whole nother thing. Jake Garcia silver, but Rico owned it. I mean, it's, like he always does. Sights of Victory, Denny Hamlin red goes to James Ward. 58 of 99. If you've never had the chance to meet Rico, he's super nice. Super nice. Red Alan Kulwicki. Yeah, I can tell you 100%. What you see with Rico is exactly what you get. 132 of 149 on Kulwicki, going to Michael John Pierce. And then we got an auto, trackside action signatures, Connor Mozak. Through the filler, went unclaimed. That's going to go to Zach Brenner. In the filler. Yeah, James McFadden went home, I do believe. But don't be surprised if you see him pop back up around King's Royal time. And all of a sudden, he's got a race car to run. Taylor Gray. On the silver. Reddick. Denny said it in their podcast, but I'll tell you what, boy, 2311 has just been very not really in anything lately. Like, it seems like Bubba and Tyler both just, like, pedestrian, I guess is the word I would use. Yeah, Scott, yes. He actually, so, that's a Larson gets that from, I don't know if he gets that from Tony Stewart, but Tony Stewart was the same way. 125 of 149, William Byron, red, going to Tim Mays. But yeah, in that similar fashion, it's not so much about the track or the commitment to be at the race, although I think that's important to him, but I think he acknowledges that, you know, Paul Silva or whoever's helping on the car, they rely on him to show up. 9 of 49 in Fuego, Austin Dillon. Through the filler to Zach Brenner. This might be one of the first breaks I can remember that Michael Clay doesn't have Austin Dillon. Hope Mike's okay. Hope he just decided to take a night off and not, you know, nothing else going on or whatever. Alex Bowman, tricolor. Belongs to Dale. Tanner Gray and Sammy Smith. I think that would be a pretty terrible move if NASCAR does that. Chandler Smith. I mean, you know, the point is if NASCAR removes them, what do they gain by doing that? You know? Chandler Smith going to Johnny Hinton, 50 of 125. If Tony could have gotten Larson, ooh, I wonder about that. Yeah, I think it was Tony Stewart and Gene Haas that were having issues. Yeah, I just don't see how kicking them out would be beneficial in any way. Who are you going to replace them with, you know? Legendary Harry Gant goes to Jake Levine. And yeah, you don't want to be the one that was like, yeah, we kicked Michael Jordan out of our sport. Brilliant move, you know, like... There we go. Kyle Busch. This is not a drill. 5 out of 10 on the Kyle Busch. Going to Tim Mays. This one is very nice. It's not perfect, though. It does have a couple little surface issues, front and back, as a matter of fact. But still very nice. Kyle Busch. Let's put him up there in place of Eckes for a little bit. Sam Mayer and Jeff Burton. Haley Deegan, blue, going to CW. $55 of 175. And we got Sparks, Eric Amarola on the fire suit. AA goes to Billy Joe. Yeah, if you guys didn't see the schedule that I posted, so tomorrow, Friday, we'll do Donruss, 5-box Donruss break, and then Sunday, I've got a 23 Prism 4-box break set up for Sunday. We'll take Monday off, and then Tuesday, I think it's how I got it set up. I think it's Tuesday. I don't know. Maybe it's Monday. Anyway, early next week, then I've got a blaster case of 23 Chronicles blasters. So that's kind of touching on a few different things over the weekend. Jimmy Johnson tricolor. Yeah, if you dive into the financial side of NASCAR and how much money NASCAR themselves is making compared to the race teams and the drivers and the tracks, NASCAR is the only one coming out ahead in this whole deal. And I still have issues with that. Let me open some more top loads. We're going to need top loads and penny sleeves, so give me just a quick second before we get to this last box. But I just, you know, I don't know. I don't know much, but I know I love you. That's about all I got. Oh, for sure, Scott. For sure. All right, our dented box. It's got kind of a whammo on the back here. So, let's see if this one's got the goodies in it. Payouts for, yes, 100%. I agree. Scott Dixon says the payouts should be posted for the races, how much each position pays, and so like it used to be. I agree 100%. I think it changed a lot because I don't think the payout is as impressive as it used to be due to the charter system. But yep. I spent many hours, Scott, when I was working at Atomic, I spent many hours sitting at the desk structuring a payout for different races and different events and trying to make it work. And even when I worked at Moeller Raceway Park for a spell, I was in charge of building the payouts for the nights and making it all make sense. And gosh, it was fun to do that. Silver Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It's funny, I think back to my ex-boss back then. Not to toot my own horn, but the dude would have been absolutely lost if I wasn't there to make sure things went right on some of that stuff. Red American Pride, 69/99. Everybody's favorite serial number. Going to Nate. Yeah, I did see that. Ryan's involved in the racetrack up there at Sharon. Yep. Oh, we got a green Alan Kulwicki. First green of the night. Going to Michael John Pierce. 29/75. Just makes sense for him. And they had a race up there last week or the week before, and Dale Blaney drove Dave's sprint car. Carson Hocevar. Let's put Carson on the stand, change things up. Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's a couple of tracks that have either been family owned for a long time, or similar situations. So Sharon with the Blaney family, and then Muskingum County Speedway with the Moran family. Been in the Moran family forever. Yeah, Dale still races sometimes. Dale Blaney does. White, Bobby Labonte. Dale's the low rider. That's what they called him. Dude, he was good. Go back and watch some old All-Star Circuit of Champions races with Dale Blaney. He was good. He was real good. If there is a... I guess there is a Sprint Car Hall of Fame. I don't know if Dale's in the Hall of Fame yet or not. If he isn't, he will be. Bobby Labonte going to William Herron. 12-99. West Virginia yeah, Dale Blaney. Dale's about 6'5", and played college basketball. Yeah, Scott. Moran's like Devin Moran. So Devin's grandpa owned Muskingum County Speedway, Ronnie Moran. Unfortunately, they've lost him. They're doing a memorial race for Grandpa this year. Actually, this month. I think it's this month. Austin Hill goes to Tony Jordan. But yeah, the track is owned by the Moran family. It's primarily run by Devin's brother, Tristan. He's the promoter. And basically the entire family chips in to help with it whenever they can. I'm telling you, there's a lot of cool stuff in Ohio dirt tracks. So, Scott Dixon, you'll like this little tidbit. Silver Austin Dillon. And if I can remember, if you remind me, I'll send you a picture sometime. Or if you make it out this way, we'll have a beer and I'll show you. But, so back in, I think it was 2013, Devin would have been like 17, 18 years old. And we were at Muskingum County Speedway for their 4th of July event. This is Devin's track, Devin's home track. You know, imagine having your own racetrack literally in your backyard where you can practice and practice and practice and practice, you know. So he's got thousands of laps on this racetrack. And here comes Lucas Oil Late Models in. And Devin was just on it that night. And ended up being on the pole for the feature. And to make a long story short, Devin smoked him the whole night. Won the Lucas Oil race, his first Lucas Oil late model race. 96:01.99 on Lawless Allen. Through the filler to Tim Mays. But anyway, Devin smoked him that night at 17 or 18 years old on his own track. And as he was coming to the checkered flag on the last lap, Donnie was racing his dad and flipped down the backstretch. Literally flipped in a late model, which doesn't happen too often. So just a wild sequence. Luckily, he was fine. Blue, Jimmy Johnson going to Dale Herman. But anyway, I'll land my plane and say that, so the door that Devin raced, I don't know if it was from that night or not, but same year, 49:01.75, Jimmy, blue. I have one of Devin's doors from that year, that season, hanging in my garage, in my bar in the garage. And, of course, it's signed and all that. But, yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff you can find out. Jimmy Johnson. Red Ryan Newman. So we went over, my dad and I went over one afternoon to the Moran's shop. And if you're here, if you ever come here to see some races, I'll be able to show you exactly what I mean. But literally, the racetrack is in Devin's parents' backyard. 118 and 125 Newman. I've seen them drive the race car from the shop to the track down the street and not bring the hauler to the track. That's how close they live. So, anyhow, it's just wild to see, some of the things that go on. And anybody but RTJ, attaboy. Anybody but Thornton Jr. Dinger, tricolor. I try not to. I think I've done a good job of concealing the one driver in NASCAR that I do not like, and I have a very strong dislike for. But I think I've done a good job of concealing that. But I have no problem saying I do not like Ricky Thornton Jr. He has never been nice to me. Did we ever figure out if the select trackside silver is worth? I don't really know, Sarah. I mean, I've done, we've done breaks where we've pulled a bunch of them, so I don't really know. Just being honest. Orange Ross Chastain going to Troy. 20 of 49. I've done a terrible job at concealing that. Yeah. I don't think anybody else has figured out the NASCAR thing yet, and I really don't want them to. I have guarded that on purpose. Sights of Victory, Kyle Larson. Going to Kyle Clayton. 19 of 49. It's a cool picture. Bobby Labonte. If you guys didn't watch that podcast where they talked to Misha and all the stuff about Panini and the products, when he explained how they choose their photos, it makes a lot more sense as to why you see the same pictures pop up so often, because he basically explained that when they go to choose photos, they use Getty, which is an online photo database, and they must have a deal with them that they can use whatever Getty has. And so if it's not something that's been photographed by a Getty photographer and uploaded, then it's not going to be there. And if, like Richard Petty, for example, if they haven't changed photos or uploaded anything new of Richard Petty, then that's why we continue to get the same old picture, because they're not spending any resources on photography itself, per se. Watch it. It's not Larson, I can tell you that for sure. Tanner Gray, tie-dye, going to Tim Mays. $14 of 25. It's definitely not Larson. And it's not one of the guys you just named. It's not a retired driver. This is the driver I don't care for is racing now in Cup. The only thing I will say is it would surprise people to find out that I do not like this driver, I think. Carolina Blue, Mark Martin. Nice. Nice color match to the Viagra suit. Going to CW. 101 of 199. I feel like Kane is so... Oh, yeah. Casey's been... He's knocking on the door of a big win for sure. Ooh, purple tie-dye. Daniel dye. One of his team... No, I don't have a problem with anybody at Hendrick. It's not anybody at Hendrick. Daniel dye. Going to Zach Brenner. In the filler. To finish things off there. Rusty with the last base card of the night. So, that gets us to the end of Select. Solid break. Couple of golds. Couple of tie-dyes. I don't know if we found anything earth-shattering, but solid. So, let's hit a recap here. Austin Hill, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott, and Daniel Hemrick were the relics. No, it's not. It's none of them either. The two short print tie-dyes, Tanner Gray and Ryan Truex. Nope, it's not Gibbs. Purple Daniel Dye. Blue Casey Kane. Harry Gant. Connor Mozak, trackside action. Jamie McMurray. Jeff Burton, legendary signatures. And Denny Hamlin, tie-dye out of 25. Yeah. We had the gold Christian Eckes. We got the gold Kyle Busch. Yeah, 5 of 10. And then we had the Carson Hocevar auto as well. So, yeah, pretty solid. Here's the question. If we guessed it, would he even admit to it? So, I'll tell you this, Scott. For as long as I have talked about this particular driver that I do not like, and for all the times that people have tried to guess who it is, hand to God, nobody has ever guessed it right. So, I can 1,000% say nobody's ever guessed it to this point. Which you'd think there's only, 36 or 38 drivers? It's not that hard to guess. And I already said it's not Hendrick, so I eliminated half the field by saying that. But no, nobody's ever guessed the correct driver yet. I don't know if I would say it or not, but nobody's ever guessed it. So put it that way. I've not had to cross that bridge yet. So I live to survive another night. So anyway, tomorrow night, 8 p.m., 5-box Donruss break. Pick your drivers. We got nothing on Saturday. I've got a card show on Saturday. And then Sunday, we'll do Prism, 23 Prism. The reason I went with 23 Prism over 24 is 23, we had 4 autos per box, where we dropped down to 3. So I figured, let's go with the one that's going to give us more hits on Sunday. So that's what we got coming down the pike. And hope everybody can join us for one of those or all of those. And I hope everybody enjoys the All-Star Weekend. I want it to be exciting and fun for everybody. And, I want it to be a good thing for NASCAR. So hopefully it is. So anyway, everybody have a great rest of your night. TGIF tomorrow. And we will see y'all next time.